Haridan was married at 16 when his mother suddenly passed away. Her death made him realize how helpless he was. His sisters were married and he had no other brother. The poor boy was afraid to even enter his home, constantly weeping for his mother. He couldn't bear to look at the room where she had passed. There was an aunt in the house who loved Haridan very much. She repeatedly asked, "Son, will you eat something?" He now received more love and attention at home than before. He got better food and even had money to spend. But none of this could heal the wound caused by his mother's death. This love and affection constantly reminded him of her. The unique comfort he found in his mother's scolding was missing in this pampering. He spent a year in this state, then his world changed. His father remarried. A new woman whom everyone called Mata, mother, arrived like a dark cloud and overshadowed his world. Darkness fell upon all the greenery and light. Haridan never spoke to this new mother, never even went near her. One day, he left home and went to his in-laws' house. His father called him back repeatedly, but as long as his father lived, Haridan didn't return. When he received news of his father's death, he felt a strange mix of relief and grief. Not a single tear came to his eyes. Arriving at his in-laws' place, it was like a new world for Haridan. His mother-in-law, like a blessing, brought greenery back to his parched life. He found his mother's love again in her, his sisters-in-law's teasing, the jokes about clothes and saris, and his wife's love fulfilled all his desires. His mother-in-law would say, "Son, consider this house your own. You are the apple of my eye." She would complain to him about her daughters-in-law and sons. Haridan felt she loved him even more than her own sons. Upon his father's death, Haridan returned home, sold his share of the property, took the bag of money, and returned to his in-laws. Now he was treated with double the respect. He offered all his wealth at his mother-in-law's feet, feeling he had made his life meaningful. At first he would occasionally remember his home, but now he didn't even think of it. Haridan woke up the earliest and worked the hardest. Seeing his hard work, the villagers were amazed and praised his father-in-law's luck for having such a capable son-in-law. But as the days passed, his respect diminished. First he was like a god, then a member of the household, and finally a house servant. He began to face insults. 10 years had passed and he was now 25. One scorching afternoon, Haridan watered the fields and sat outside. He saw smoke rising from the house and heard the clatter of dishes. His two brothers-in-law arrived and went inside, but Haridan couldn't. This treatment had been going on for a month, especially after the scolding he'd received the previous day, which felt like shackles on his feet. His mother-in-law had said, "I'm fed up with you. Am I responsible for your life?" But what hurt him most was his wife's behavior. She sat there and listened to the scolding, but didn't once say, "Mother, why are you insulting him?" She just sat there and listened, perhaps even happy about his humiliation. How could he go inside now, to face more insults and scolding? This was his state after 10 years in this house. Then his wife came out and said,
"Bring some water from the well. There's not a drop in the house."
Haridan took the pot and filled it. He was very hungry and thought she would call him to eat, but she took the pot inside and said nothing. Tired, hungry, and distressed, he lay down. Then his wife Gumani woke him up. "What's the matter? I gave you water. What more do you want?" Gumani said harshly.
"Why are you grumbling? I came to call you for food."
Haridan saw his brothers-in-law coming out after eating. He was furious. Has it come to this that I can't even eat with them? Am I supposed to lick their plates? Am I their dog, given scraps after they've eaten? This is the same house where I was so respected 10 years ago. Everyone acted like my servants. My mother-in-law used to light a lamp for me and practically worship me. Then I had money, property. Now I'm poor, so why would you care? He said, "I'm not hungry. I won't eat today." Gumani retorted,
"Suit yourself. If you eat, it'll go in your stomach, not mine."
His anger turned to tears. He thought, "This is my wife, for whom I sacrificed everything. They want to get rid of me having made a fool of me." Where could he go now? His mother-in-law came out and said, "Why don't you go eat? Who has time for your tantrums? If you don't want what's offered, then don't. What else can you do? We have a daughter married to you, not a lifetime contract." Haridan said sadly, Yes, it was my mistake to think you were responsible for my life. When I had money, everything was fine. Now I'm poor, so why bother with me? The old woman went back inside, fuming. Haridan was burning with hunger, thirst, and worry. Inside, his mother-in-law and brothers-in-law were talking, with Gumani agreeing with everything they said. He thinks he's our equal, his mother-in-law said. He doesn't understand we don't have a lifetime contract with him. It's been 10 years, why couldn't it have been 20 or 30? The younger brother-in-law said, when you're helpless you have to take scoldings. Who can say anything to him? Who knows when we'll be rid of him? Gumani, hearing her family's words, felt resentful towards her husband. She thought if he had some money, she would be respected and live like a queen. Haridan was lying outside fuming. His brothers-in-law came out and the elder one said, "Brother, get up! It's late. How long will you sleep? The whole field is waiting." Haridan sat up abruptly and said sharply, "Do you think I'm a fool?" Both brothers-in-law were stunned. The man who never spoke, who always obeyed like a slave, was suddenly so defiant. It was shocking. Seeing their surprise, Haridan continued in the same tone, "I have eyes, I'm not blind nor deaf. I work my heart out and I'm treated like a dog. There must be better homes than this." The elder brother-in-law got angry. "No one's forcing you to stay here." Haridan, now fearless, retorted, "Do I work less than you?" "Who says that?" the elder one asked. "Then is this your family's policy? Whoever works the hardest starves? Didn't you come to eat yourself? Did someone have to feed you?" Haridan taunted. "I didn't go myself." "Aren't you ashamed? Didn't your sister call you?" The elder brother-in-law's eyes turned red with anger. Just then the mother-in-law rushed out. "I'm tired of telling him. If he won't get up, what can I do?" Haridan, his voice filled with anger, said, "Am I supposed to eat your son's leftovers? Am I a dog that you throw scraps at after you've eaten?" The old woman retorted, "So you think you're equal to my sons?" This single sentence defeated Haridan. His tense muscles relaxed, the fire in his eyes died, his flared nostrils calmed. He heard only one sentence echoing in his ears. "Do you think you're equal to my sons?" He saw his own mother in her. He felt as if his mother was stroking his head. He burst into tears. Then he saw his wife Gumani standing before him. "How long will someone wait for you? Get up. Do you even care about me? I told you I wasn't hungry. How long will you go without eating? I won't even drink water in this house now. Are you coming with me or not?" Hearing these determined words, Gumani was startled. "Where are you going? Are you coming with me or not? If you don't tell me, I'll assume you don't want to go." Haridan left. He reached his village Amraya in 5 hours. Seeing the familiar trees, his heart leaped with joy. Seeing the golden spire of the temple, he ran towards it as if he would jump on top of it. Yet he ran carefully, as if his mother was calling him with open arms. He reached the mango orchard where he used to play. He climbed a mango tree. The orchard keeper shouted, "Who's up there? If you don't answer, I'll throw a stone and knock you out." He hurled insults. Haridan found strange joy in these insults. He laughed heartily, a joyous laughter he hadn't experienced in a long time. The keeper thought the laughter sounded familiar. But that can't be Haridan. He's stuck at his in-laws, slaving away. What a cheerful boy he was, so full of life. Who knows what's become of him? He used to jump from the tree into the pond. Who in the village is like that now? The keeper scolded, "If you keep laughing up there, I'll come up and wipe that smile off your face. Come down!" He kept cursing. A mango pit hit his head. He rubbed his head and muttered, "Who is this devil? He won't listen. Fine, I'll deal with him." He grabbed a stick and climbed the tree like a monkey. He saw Haridan smiling. Astonished, he said, "Haridan, when did you come back? Why are you up in this tree?" The two childhood friends embraced and climbed down. "When did you arrive? Come home. What are you doing here hungry?" "Are there no mangoes at your in-laws?" Haridan smiled. "Mangru, these mangoes have a taste you won't find anywhere else." "How's the village? Everyone's restless. You broke all ties with us. Who leaves their village like this? Since your grandfather died, everything's fallen apart. There are 2 little boys. What will happen to them?" "What do I have to do with that? I've given up my share. You'll have to step up." "Will you help me?" Will you give me food? Mangru said reassuringly. What are you saying? My life is yours. You won't stay with your in-laws anymore? Don't worry. First, take care of your home. You have little children to raise. You are unnecessarily afraid of your stepmother. She's very simple. Consider her your own mother. She'll be happy to have you back. Bring your wife too. I want to see her. As for me, if she's gone, I'll find another wife, someone who'll treat me like a king. But what if your first wife comes back? She won't. Haridan reached home and his younger brothers shouted, "Brother's back! Brother's back!" They ran inside and told their stepmother. Stepping into the house, Haridan felt a sense of peace. He felt as if he was in his mother's lap. After so much hardship, his heart had softened. Where there was pride and anger, there was now despair, defeat, and supplication. He saw his mother in his stepmother's kind eyes. Every corner of the house was filled with memories, shimmering like moonlight. His stepmother's mature face was also touched by this glow. She said, "Son, you've come home, we're blessed. Now you'll take care of these children. Even if not a mother's bond, you have a father's. Just give me a piece of bread, and I'll stay in a corner. My stepmother and your mother are sisters. By that relation, you're my son too." Haridan, with tearful eyes, saw his mother in his stepmother. Every corner of the house was filled with the glow of memories like moonlight. Seeing his stepmother's love, his heart melted. He saw his mother in her. The next day, Haridan went to the fields. His face was serene, his eyes calm. He was no longer dependent on anyone. He was the provider, not a beggar at someone's door, but the protector of his home. One day he heard that Gumani had remarried. He said to his mother, "Did you hear Gumani remarried?" "Let her," his stepmother said. "It's a joke. The community won't tolerate this. There's a panchayat and a court." Haridan said, "No, it's good. Offer sweets to Mahavirji. I was afraid she'd come back to me. God listened to my prayers. I left that house determined never to see her face again." Now Haridan lived in his old house, where he had spent his entire life, raising his two younger brothers. His mind was finally at peace.